What is going on, friends, and welcome back to the Minecraft Hub channel. So today we're going to be going over 10 different mods that I think are just really essential for building and taking your buildings to a whole new level. These things are all super useful. Some of them are just tiny tweaks to the game that you'll barely notice but help a lot, and some of them are bigger, more advanced mods that you'll definitely have to spend some time learning but will be worth it in the end. So first up today, we have the Clee Slabs mod. The only thing this mod does is it allows you to break half slabs. So basically all you have to do is place any slabs you want, and you can break now the slab in the middle or the bottom slab. So these are in, if we place a whole block right here, normally if you break one, it breaks the whole block, and you can see that it actually loads that way, but the bottom one is still there. You can break the bottom one, that one will still be there. So this mod is super useful. I know I always misplace slabs whenever I'm doing any like roofing or floors, anything like that. So by having this mod, it actually helps a lot. Unfortunately, just because you can break that slab doesn't mean you can place it there. It's still just the same slabs in order to place there. You can't place a wood slab on the same block as this one just because you can break it now. But you can break it, and that's already super useful. Alright, on to the next one. The next mod that I have for you guys, you probably have never thought of, but it is the Dirt Slabs mod. So this mod just allows you to make dirt slabs. And as you can see here, it's actually pretty useful. You wouldn't normally think that you would need these, but you know, if you're doing any outside work like this, it actually becomes pretty nice to have, honestly. Another interesting feature is it adds sand and red sand slabs. And these things actually defy gravity. So they're like any normal block, and I could build completely out with them and they won't fall. So that is of course nice to have. It is kind of game defying though, so I'm not sure if I actually like this feature or find it kind of annoying, but it is kind of cool still. And the sand features would be great to have if you're building in the desert and need some sand slabs. And these dirt features are of course great as well. If we remove those, this actually looks pretty good right here. You know, if you're doing an outside build and want just to step up. And if you weren't already tired of slab mods, we have one more for you today, and that is the vertical slabs mod. And this mod is insanely cool. All it is vertical slabs, and I've always thought that these would be super useful for building. They have, you know, blocks for every single one, and just look at these look so cool. And you can definitely just make like a wall around here. There's a lot you can do with this mod, and it's definitely going to be something interesting, and there can be some very cool builds with this. So this mod that I have for you is a lot different from what I've been showing so far. This is the Lot Tweaks mod, and it basically just adds a lot of tweaks to your creative build mechanics, and I believe it also works in survival as well, but I'm not actually too sure of that. So this first part is the U keybind, which basically tells you how far you have before a certain block. So you can see here I am 95 blocks away from that mushroom tree and 96 away from the wall. If I look anything closer, 66, 50, and if I place some glass, you know, maybe it's only 3 or 5 blocks away. So this is very useful if you're trying to get exact numbers of a build, and definitely something that would help a lot when trying to build like a massive circle. The next keybind is the G keybind, which this just replaces blocks. So I have glass in my hand, so it's replacing all the blocks I'm looking at with glass. If I look very far away and click V, I can actually pick any block I want. So I will look at that stone or that tree, and I can get the dark oak logs. This is very cool if you're doing a build with a lot of different blocks and you don't have enough to fill, or you have too many to fill the hotbar, so you can now choose anything you want. And you can cycle through if it's not too sure which one you're looking at. Another cool feature of this mod is the rotate feature. So if you click R, you can now rotate through all the colors of wool, or if you're holding Stone, you can cycle through all the stones, diorites, things like that. If you're holding wood, of course you can cycle through all the wood. So this is very cool if you're just trying to switch up which color wool you're using, which color concrete, just anything like that. And it helps a lot in quickly changing those blocks. This definitely would speed up a lot of creative builds, and definitely something worthwhile to use. Alright, so the next mod I have for you guys is for glass panes, and this one actually is just a horizontal glass pane block. And this is of course great for making skylights, just anything in that sort of range. You can place them at 2 different levels of the block. So yeah, it's a very useful, very cool mod. I definitely enjoy using it. I have a lot of ideas that I could actually use for this, and instead of using a whole glass block, now you can use just glass panes. Alright, so the next mod I have for you guys will completely change how you build anything ever. So this mod is the effortless building mod, and as you can see here, it makes things effortless. I just placed 10,000 blocks like that. And then I can undo them just with a simple keybind. I did actually suffocate a cow in that. 2 cows, so that's interesting. But basically, if you choose your alt menu, you can go to any different type of thing that you want. Say I want a cylinder, I choose that, and I have a cylinder. I'm doing this with grass blocks, but you can do it with whatever, of course. And there's also an undo button, there's a redo button, I'll undo it again. And then there's also there's normal, which that's of course just any day vanilla Minecraft, and then there's normal plus. And this is if you just want to place one block. I guess I should choose a different block than what I can place very far away. Not sure the exact range of this mod, but it is a lot farther than you can normally place anyway. So if we go back to the alt menu, let's say we want a sphere. Boom. We basically just created a planet in a matter of seconds. And this is actually a pretty solid sphere. Normally I do pretty bad with the aligning and getting it exactly how I want it, but this one turned out pretty nice. So next up we have the prefab mod, and I actually hadn't heard of this until I started researching different building mods. I already had a few of these, but I want to get a few more to add to the list, and this is definitely one of the coolest ones I found. So basically there are a bunch of different fabrication things that you can use to make whole houses, watchtowers, windmills, basically anything you could think of. They have a schematic for, and this is insanely cool. So I can preview this house and I can actually see like how big it'll be, what it'll kind of look like, and then if I want to actually build it, I just go down and I click build, and it builds a full house. This is super cool to me. I've never used a mod like this before, and it goes ahead and it gives you chests, some with items in it. It gives you furnaces, one with coal in it, and then it also gives you a mine shaft all the way down to Y11, and it gives you all the blocks that it actually dug up while making it. I'll show off some of the other schematics that it has. This is the windmill prefab. You place it and there you go, you have a full windmill. One of the other really cool ones that I thought that I should show is the other starter houses and customization that you can do with those. So this is the only one of the schematics that actually has a lot of customization and choice to it. The other ones are kind of cut and copy of what you get, but this one, it has about 4 or 5 different options and you can use them for different biomes. This one I thought was really cool, this desert style. This is something that I would definitely want to build. I don't have the skills and detail work to actually do this, but with this mod I can just do it myself. So this is definitely something that I would use in a creative world if I were trying to make like a large scale city or something, and there's a lot more to learn with it. It's not just the schematics, there's also a ton of new blocks, so definitely want to put some time into learning this mod, but it is very cool what I've found so far. So next up we have the building wands mod, and this mod is actually very cool. It adds these wands in that you can use for building, and so if we're looking at this block, it gives us this whole option palette right here, and if we want to add blocks out this way, we can do that, and it'll go as far as we want it to. We want to make them diagonal, perfect. There is a load of options that you can do with this, and these just create single lines right here, but if you change the wand mode, it'll start creating other things, and this gives you wand mode 1, and you can basically just duplicate these single lines. Wand mode 2, basically you pick different points and it'll create things. If I pick a point up here, it'll create a whole row of these. If I pick this one and say this one, I'll get a giant square like that. So there's definitely a lot you can do with that as well. And then wand mode 3 basically copies and pastes things just like this. This is definitely a very fun mod to use for building, and adds a ton of different features. Obviously there are some skill levels to this, and I'm not that great yet, but it is fun to use and play around with. So next up, it would not be a building mod video if we did not have a world edit. And this is, of course, it's been around forever, everybody knows about it. I just set a point there, I set a point there. Oh, I just set 2 first positions. But I do that, and then I can use commands to do whatever I want basically. I'll type /help. And these are basically all the commands that it adds. They're mixed in, of course, with the regular Minecraft commands. But we have /world edit, we have /tool. There are a ton of new commands, and this mod definitely takes a while to learn, but once you do learn these commands and all that you can do with them, it definitely changes the game drastically. One command that I've actually used a lot while I've been building is the /tool replace, and basically you left click a block, and then that is the block that is bound to the whatever tool you have in your hand, and you can replace any other block with it. I just did /replace 1, so I only replace 1 block at a time, but you can actually change those and replace however many blocks at a time that you actually want to. And you just bind these to different tools that you have in your hand, and that's all you have to do. So there's definitely a large learning curve to this mod, and I would recommend effortless building or lot tweaks if you're just trying to do some simple building mods. But if you're trying to get more advanced and do a lot more, then this is probably the mod for you. So next up we have another very simple, very small mod, and this is the light overlay mod. So if we click F7, it gives us this entire overlay of the ground, and this is basically showing you where mobs can spawn. So this is very useful for your dark builds, your mob farms, any build that you're doing really, where you're going to need to see the light levels and prevent mobs from spawning. And we can actually see once I get a torch here, once I place a torch and there's light there, it all goes away, and then we can see where we need to torch next. So this is super useful for, you know, your massive builds where there's lots of crevices, things like that, or just inside in a large area and you need to see exactly where you should light up to prevent mobs from spawning. It's very simple, but it's effective and super useful for building, so that's why we put it on this list. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, be sure to drop a like down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. We've been doing a lot of different content. We've done mod content, we've done hermitcraft content, so a lot to check out on this channel. And if you want me to go more in depth on any of these mods, be sure to comment down below, and maybe I'll do a tutorial on any of the mods that I showcased today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.